Welcome back, everybody. It's New Year's Day. We're just rolling right into it. Sean and I haven't spoken probably maybe it's been a week and a half or so. It's been over Christmas, New Year's. I'm not hungover today like I normally would be on New Year's Day. I'm assuming you aren't either because I think you've got your thing going on. So I figured we'd start the recording before we started catching up, so that way we don't
Yeah.
miss anything. But what's been going on down there? I guess roll me back through what Christmas was like, and then what you guys did for New Year's and all that down in a nice warm beach weather.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you're in a nice warm place compared to where you grew up in, where you used to live a lot
Yeah.
of your time in Detroit area, Michigan kind of thing. So, yeah, we kept it pretty low key this year. I mean, it was nice in the sense where I actually took 2 days off work and like fully off. I didn't do any messaging. I said hi to people that were wishing me Merry Christmas, stuff like that, but no work related things, no emails, no talking to clients, no like thinking about what I got to do the next day. So it was really nice to like unplug and recharge for a couple of days, which is really, really nice. Yeah. And for Christmas, we kept it really low key as far as gifts go. We did a lot of homemade gifts this year. So I printed off, it's kind of cute. I made a boyfriend coupon booklet for Dasha. So it was like, free back massage, free foot massage, spa day, shopping day, yes day, stuff like that. So I was like valued at over $3,000.
I remember that was popular some years ago, and then I haven't heard of anybody doing it recently. But it really is a good idea because the thing is, if you can't think of what to get somebody, and most people at our age now, if I want something, I just buy it. So if somebody's like, "Hey, what do you want?" I'm like, "I don't know." When I see something, I literally click and have it delivered like the next day. So that's a good idea.
We do our best to do at least one date night every week. Obviously, some weeks it's you forget or life's busy or there's things going on where it's hard to accommodate a date night. But at least this gives a way of it makes it kind of cute in the sense of like always having to ask for something like, hey, can I have a foot massage? And like I do pretty good at offering these things, but this way it makes it a bit cuter in a sense like here, I want to cash in a coupon for spontaneous date night, or I want to cash in a coupon for a back massage. So it was, and the nice part too is, like you said, at the age I'm at, when people said, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Can you buy me a new truck?" Like, I mean, everything I want is expensive, right? So it's like I'm just going to buy it myself or work towards it. But this is a nice way of like showing that you care and still keeping it budget friendly. And like I know she wants. I got a list of like we gave each other a list of like gifts that we'd want for certain occasions. If it comes true, it doesn't have to. But some of hers are like nice jewelry and helicopter ride and stuff like that, and like, they're gonna come true. But this is at least
Experiences.
Experiences is what we're going for. Well, how about yours? How was your Christmas?
We went back to see family for Thanksgiving around that time, which I know doesn't apply to everybody who watches this, but American Thanksgiving, and that was great. But it's family and everything else, and just all these things going on, and you're kind of stuck in the house and it's cold, and that feeling of just like, well, I guess we'll just sit here and eat and drink and everything. So this time around, same thing, just sat around, didn't do jack shit, which was really, really nice. It's been a nice stretch since then, actually, because it's been quiet in a good way. Like today, for example, it's New Year's Day. We're recording this and there's nothing going on. I got nobody bothering me. Tomorrow, there'll be an avalanche of stupid things when the corporate world comes back to life. But yeah, it's a little cold here today. I know that's kind of dumb to say. It's probably in the Fahrenheit. So it's just a little uncomfortable, but I shouldn't complain about it. I'm still in Galveston here. Last night we were in bed by 8, 9 o'clock reading. I mean, it's not like I can't stay up for New Year's. I just don't care anymore because I spent all those years. I mean, I would drink and party hard on a random Tuesday in September. So when somebody's like, "What are you doing for New Year's Eve?" I'm like, I just don't care. I mean, I like New Year's, but who cares? What did you guys end up doing? I saw you post a bunch of stuff about the co-working stuff, but I can't remember what days it was on. So.
Yeah, so New Year's, I mean, same thing. I think we were in bed by like 10:30, sleeping by 11. We both kind of come to this realization, like, I mean, I realized it last year as well. New Year's Eve is always one of the biggest letdown nights of the fucking year. It's always, everyone makes it out to be this 100%. Everyone makes it out to be this like, extravagant thing with all these plans. The lineups are fucking outrageous. It costs 3 times the amount of money. It's never as good as you think it's going to be. The show you see sucks.
You got to dress up and then pay a cover to get into a bar that you could just walk into any other day of the week.
Yeah, we saw a post. There was an Italian restaurant here in Playa, and they were charging 45,000 pesos for a table of 2. So
Jesus,
that's
how
like,
much is, yeah.
Well, 30,000 is 1,500 American. So it's like just over $2,000 each for a table.
God.
Yeah. right? And then for what? Like you get like a 5 course meal, and it's like get the fuck out. So
That is, yeah.
we're over New Year's. We stayed last New Year's. We stayed up till like 12:30. Said good night New Year's, had a good night, good New Year's kiss. But the tradition that I did keep going is last year on New Year's Day, I woke up really early, walked down to the beach, watched the sunrise. I brought a book to do some, manifestations, goal setting, intentions, stuff like that. So I did the same thing this year. I woke up at 6 a.m., rode my pedal bike down. I wanted to get some cardio, rode 15 minutes there. Got to get sweat going. I brought a cutting board for a table. I brought my journal, my notebook, and then I brought a candle. Lit the candle right when I got there. Wrote down intentions. Yeah, it was really good because then I came back. I just had a 25-minute workout riding my bike downhill and uphill. Uphill in Mexico is this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I woke up feeling great. I set my intentions. I wrote down goals of what I want to accomplish this year as far as work goes, life, my spiritual journey, growth, everything like that. Wrote all these goals down and intentions of what I want to do. I didn't actually write too many I want to make 100,000 this year. I want to buy a truck. It was more like the destination of where I want to go. I want my business to be exceeding 6 figures. So there's no actual number, because if you're focused on the outcome, you're not going to appreciate the journey. And if you don't achieve 200,000 this year, you're going to feel like you failed. But if you say, I want to reach 6 figures, I want to launch an online community, I want to do these kind of things, and there's no real number attached to it. It's just the journey. I did that, right?
We've made a lot of money at certain times, made no money at other times. And I don't honestly know that when I had in my head that I'm going to hit 100,000 someday. And because I remember the day it happened, I was in my 30s or something like that. And I was like, so what? Because I had more shit to pay for. So it didn't matter. So you're right. Putting a number on it like that, it's what is your day to day like? How do you feel? What is your happiness level like? Can you do things that you want to do without stressing about money? But trying to put an exact number on it really doesn't work. It's kind of counterintuitive,
Yeah, a lot of times too. Let's say your goal is 100,000 and you get to 95,000. Well, now instead of actually appreciating that you made $95,000, you're focusing on, I'm short. I didn't make my goal. I failed. I set my intention. My goal was this. I didn't reach it. I failed. It's you got pretty fucking close. Appreciate that. So if I just put an intention of 6 figures or 7 figures or triple my income or something like that. So I'm not attached to the actual outcome. I'm more focused on the growth of getting to that. So you feel better. No matter what, you don't feel like you failed. As long as you try, you didn't fail.
Yeah, that's a huge problem for a lot of people. It's all relative to how much you're out, how much you're paying out on certain things. Where you're in the digital nomad community. And I also hate when I see posts of people places you can live for $1,000 a month. And I'm like, ain't no fucking way. As far as I'm concerned, that's unreasonable. So, but you do have to have a certain amount of income to be able to live. I mean, sure, if you wanted to live off, a fruit stand.
Beans and living in a hostel. You can do it.
Yeah, you can pull that off. So that's unrealistic as well. When people say money doesn't buy happiness or options, it does to an extent. You have to have it if you want to be able to do things and be comfortable, and live in a nice air-conditioned house and have a pool and everything else.
Yeah, the best quote I remember my brother said years ago when we were talking about money doesn't buy you happiness. My brother's like, I would much rather cry in a Lamborghini than on a pedal bike.
Oh, that's very true. Yeah. Yeah, and they've actually changed those studies a little bit now too. That's typically something people say that are kind of down and out. There's, yeah, exactly. Poor people say that shit.
It's like the good luck of a bird shitting on your head. It's good. It's that's just an excuse for when you get shit on.
Yeah,
it's not actually good luck.
Bounces into your mouth. But the other thing that I like is I actually did something similar this morning. I'm in downtown Galveston. That's a reflection on the mirror of the parking ramp across the street. Nice little town here. But I've been doing this thing in the mornings now where I'll, after the gym or whatever, in between work, I will go for a walk without my AirPods in, without listening to a podcast or music. And that's really, really tough to do because you were so used to having some information coming into our systems at all time. Man, I come up with some great ideas though, even if it's just 30 minutes. So when you went on this bike ride and all that this morning, were you listening to stuff?
Just me and my thoughts. The only thing that I did listen to when I got to the beach, because for some reason Mexicans absolutely love New Year's, the beach was fucking packed. There's at least 1,000 people there. We're out of town. I'm why are they all here?
This morning.
This morning. Yeah.
From the night, but they were out there from the night before still.
Some were there from the night before.
That's
Some were
great.
showing up. Like there's boom boxes and people drinking and parties. So I like to drown it out. I put headphones in. It's
Yeah.
just in like a meditation playlist. So like no vocals, just all soothing sounds. So like it
Hmm.
drowned out the I'm lazy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
can't manifest when I'm hearing drunk Mexican Spanish and beer bottles. So
Yeah. Well, we often joke, or at least when I was down there, it's like one of the loudest places I've ever been. Like just the daily noises. Like we would sit in the cafe and work, and they'd bring out that ice and they would start beating on ice bags on the counter, and they'd
the
have the
fish
coffee
stick.
grinders. Yeah, you couldn't take a meeting anywhere unless you like pay for co-working and you put you in a room. But even then, I mean, there's just like all the grinding noises from construction, and then like on the beach, instead of people showing up with like their own little speaker or having AirPods or something in, people show up with like a big fucking speaker like they're at a nightclub and they
Everyone
blast.
has their
So
own speaker. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's one of the loudest places. I love that place, but dude, it is. You can't go anywhere and just have quiet. There's always some noise. Yeah, or
You know,
dogs barking randomly.
and then if you go to different parts of the town, yeah, you have a lot of dogs barking. Then you also have the mobile advertisements where it's a car with giant speakers on the roof, just
Yeah,
blaring Spanish advertisements. Then you have
yeah,
the guys on the bikes going ding, 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 selling
yeah.
all.
Yeah, yelling shit out. Yeah, yeah. No, it's funny. I totally forgotten about all that until you brought it up. But yeah, no, it's good to in the morning at least. And this doesn't apply to everybody, but it works because you have all day long to listen to podcasts and listen to music and all that other stuff. It's nice to just like, hey, and it's dude, it is not easy. Like I'll walk around the downtown area over here, just a few blocks in every direction by the cruise ships, and like every time I hit a corner to wait for a car to pass, my hand goes in my pocket to grab my phone because I want to. So it's such a compulsion. So you really
Yeah.
have to fucking try hard. And I know you do a couple things in the morning, or at least you were, where you would like keep your phone on airplane mode or do not disturb for a little bit longer than most people would, which is nice that you could do that.
It's tough. Yeah. Because the first thing you want to do is like, especially because, I have a lot of developers that are in India and Bangladesh and Indonesia and stuff like that. So, I send them off like a review or an edit that the client gave to me. By the time I'm sleeping, they're getting it done. So they're responding to my work. So like I know that if I check my computer, I'm going to have a list of messages from all my developers that are working on shit. So it's like, but it's good because I write down, I do my 5 minute daily journal. Then I do a little bit of goal setting and just like going through like, I have a weird skill of being able to remember my dreams really well, like visually remember my dreams, like what
Sure.
happened, where I was. So I've been writing down all my dreams that I have because maybe one day it'll actually mean something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in the wall right in front of me, I wrote down a list of affirmations that I say daily. So I got, like I love myself, I'm worthy of happiness, I'm worthy of love, I'm whole, I'm peaceful. And so I read those out loud every morning when I sit down to work before I work. And then I had a coach that I recently hired on that gave me 3 really good prompts, and I'll read those out to you, to everyone as well who's listening. So these are usually done at the end of the day. You read these out loud and you reflect on it. So it says, what did I do today that fully reflects who I am? Right. So you have to like think about what you did that can like, okay, like I am a really caring person today. So what did I do that reflects who I think that I am? Then the next one is what, if anything, felt feared or out of alignment with my values, right? So you can be like, okay, yeah, this, people pleasing and saying, yeah, I can pick this person up today, or was really out of my values. I didn't want to. So it helps you recognize certain things that are like tendencies and trends and habits you have of actually being in alignment and being out of alignment. And then the last prompt is, what can I do differently tomorrow to honor my authentic self?
Yeah. No,
Right. So
that's good.
these have been very, very powerful for me because a lot of times like a week, 2 weeks ago, me and my girlfriend were in a little bit of an animosity because I wasn't being very authentic. And by authentic, I was saying yes to everything. I was just people pleasing. Right. So I wasn't, I didn't understand the value and the power of no. Right. So if your partner says, hey babe, can you pick me up today at 3 o'clock? If you have something scheduled and you're now, oh yeah, I'll move my meeting out of the way. I'll come pick you up. You're abandoning yourself to please that person, even though
Mhm.
my thought and theory behind it is I am helping my partner, therefore she's going to love me more because I'm valuing her more. It's actually pushing her away or him away, whatever, whatever you're in,
Mhm.
because they're realizing that you're neglecting yourself just to please them. So if you actually, there's so much power in being like, hey, I would love to, but unfortunately, don't say but, because but always a value or erases the first part. Hey, I love you, although I have something scheduled and I can't do that.
Yeah,
They
that's
respect
good.
that. They respect that so much more than you rearranging your schedule to make it work.
I do the same thing when somebody asks me and I have another meeting or something. I use meetings as an example because I have a lot of those. And I'll be like, yeah, sure, sounds good in the moment. And then all of a sudden, then I'm resenting it. Then as soon as I hang up or something, I'm just cursing that person for the rest of the day. And I'm angry at it, but I didn't tell them I couldn't do it. I was like, I'll move it. They're like, oh, great. I'm like, how dare they? So I do that shit all the
Yeah.
time.
And,
Yeah.
and and you're more resentful for yourself. Really, you're mad at yourself, but you're
Yeah.
taking it out on them, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
it's a big thing that I'm learning, and we were in a really tough spot for a couple of days there. Like she was just like just pushing me so far away. She's like, you're not being you, and you're just trying to take care of me. And it was a very good lesson. And women, if you're with the right woman, they're going to push you and they're going to test you. And it's not because they
Hmm.
don't love you; it's because they do love you and they want you to grow. So it was a very good test. And then, of course, my coach gave me those prompts to read, and it's been helping out a lot. Like, I mean, there's been times where, like today, I was asked to bring in lunch, or yesterday I was asked to bring in lunch, or no, was it today or yesterday? Anyways, I was asked to bring in lunch, and like I truly didn't want to do it, and I said, no,
Hmm.
I can't today. And she's like, oh, okay, not a problem. Where like I was actually afraid to say no because I'm like,
Right.
oh God, like she's relying on me. Like, if I can't do it, the kids are gonna starve. Like, oh my God. And I ended up saying no. And instead of so all these fears I had in my head of like disappointing her were just like, oh, okay, I appreciate you taking care of yourself. Thank you. It's like
Yeah. That's really, really tough to do. People can
so
certainly use a
tough.
lesson in that. I do this all the time. I'll skip the gym or skip certain things because of obligations and work instead of putting myself first. It's so strange how we're stuck with our bodies for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually the last thing that we tend to, our health and our bodies. Even those of us that are like trying to be healthy, I'm supposed to do yoga every afternoon. I'm supposed to start doing it because I'm pretty stiff. I'm getting older. And I will probably today, I'll try to do it. I'm trying to, you can start small too, by the way. We're getting into habits a little bit again, but there's a couple of yoga apps out there. For example, I've got one that lets you start off with like you can literally do 3 minutes and work your way up to a half hour. Which so if you just start that little habit, like 5 minutes, that's it. That's all I got to do. But I'll probably push that off, or I have been pushing it off for like some stupid email I need to write or somebody I need to reply to, and it's just really It's really strange that we're stuck with the one thing. The one thing that's good we're going to have forever is this fucking bag of meat and bones and everything.
Meat
There's no
sack.
guarantee, and yeah, there's no guarantee on anything else. There's no guarantee on relationships. There's no guarantee on anything, and it's the one thing we're stuck with. But to get back to the affirmations thing real quick, this is a little bit different, but I didn't realize how powerful they were. And this could just be a placebo, but that's okay. If it's a placebo, so what? But when I was on that retreat and everybody around me, everybody in that place, to include the guy because they doubled us up in the rooms like little bunk beds or whatever, got deathly ill. I mean, I think it was probably COVID, like a stronger strain of it. I mean, people were just like, it wasn't just like coughing, it was like gross. Everybody in that place got sick except for me. There was 12 of us there. And every day I would go walk around the yard, the little patch of grass outside, and I would keep telling myself over and over again, I don't get sick. My immune system is strong. I don't get sick. These people. So I kept saying it. Now, whether that was placebo or maybe I took more care and like not touching things or touching my face, but I didn't get sick. And to a person, they all, to include the instructors and the course manager, all got deathly ill.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, there's something to it if you just keep reinforcing it and reinforcing it. But like you mentioned, you kind of have to do it every day, right? It's not something you could just let fly.
That's why I got it up. I got it every day. Every morning I read it. Every evening I read it. And I just tell myself all that every single day. Like, I'm resilient. I'm growth. I'm a king. I create wealth and abundance. I just keep telling it. And it's coming true. It's very coming true. And talking about, to reflect on what you said about, we're stuck with these bodies. You need to show up for yourself before you can show up for anybody else. And if you're trying to show up for your partner or your business or your wife or your husband and you're neglecting yourself, they're going to notice that and you can't show up for them. The best way to be able to provide and show up for a loved one is taking care of yourself first. because they'll see that.
Yeah.
And if they see you not taking care of yourself, you're going to start building up resentments and angers. And you're not going to be as, you're going to be pouring all your energy into them, and you're going to be run down and drained and tired. And then, it's not a good recipe. And I learned that the hard way. I did learn that. It took a couple good, I don't want to say fights. We've never really been in a fight in the last year that we've been together, but very uncomfortable, tense situations. I like to call that. Yes. Where it's like, the polarity's so off, and there's just this like, who the fuck are you, right? So
it's an uncomfortable way to go through the day, especially if you both have to go do separate things during the day. And if there's an issue in the morning or from the night before, you just have that, you spend the whole day with that little pit in your stomach. Even if it's not a huge deal, it's like, this doesn't feel good. It really could ruin your entire day over something small. And those things, like taking care of yourself, can manifest its ways in a lot of ways, meaning it could be something small like that, or smallish. And then there's the whole, okay, look at the obesity epidemic we have. If you're not taking care of yourself and being healthy, look, I feel for the people that are having a hard time with weight. Blah, I get it. I have a sweet tooth and I love beer. I get it too. But like, God, the thought of like, wait a second, if I don't take care of myself, somebody's gonna have to take care of me, and how fucking embarrassing is that? Like, how much would that suck? That, that's on the larger scale, but it's the same concept. Like, you just take care of yourself. And, I think anybody who's got family, kids, whatever, I think the kids would, if the mom or dad that was like unhealthy would say like, oh, hey, we want to, no kid's going to be like, oh, mom or dad, no, I want you to not take care of yourself. Well, maybe kids would, because they're fucking selfish. But you know what I'm saying? Like, in the long run, like, oh, I'm so glad you spent your entire life making sure I was okay, and now I have to wipe your ass in assisted living or something, dude. Fuck that.
When you brought kids up, there's this, and it's still true to me. I shouldn't say any. I have very little sympathy for adults that are obese. Very little. Because like 99% of the time, it's a lifestyle choice. Like, you eat shitty food, you don't take care of your health, you don't exercise. I have very, very little sympathy. I have the most enormous amount of sympathy for children that are obese, because it is not their fault. It is their fucking
They're not feeding themselves. Yeah.
They're not feeding themselves. Yeah, I know. There's no excuse to have an obese child. That is neglect from the parent. It's all on the parent. And of course, then it comes to this. The reason why I say I have a little bit of sympathy for the obese adults is because if they start off as an obese child because of their parents, it's hard to get out of that, and their bodies already have diabetes and disease and stuff like that. So they're just riddled with problems from the get-go. So that's why I still have some sympathy. But like, even then, if you're older, you have the ability to change your life and change your lifestyles.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, this one thing came up to me too. Like, I always told myself, like, the holy fuck or oh shit moment that would, if I ever got to that point, would be the day that I could no longer see my dick. If I looked down and it was just this belly and I can't see it, I'm like, something's got to change.
I mean, we can't stop aging, at least not yet. We're almost there probably with technology and everything else, but you're going to deteriorate. But do you really want to, like, do you want your time from 70 to 90 years old to be not bedridden, but you want to be walking around, not being able to function? Or do you want to be able to actually get out and do things? Because people can live for a really long time, but if from 70 onward, or whatever age you want to put on it, your life sucks, because that's a long time. Can you imagine being stuck in a chair for like 20 years? That's fucking terrible, man.
God,
not being able to fly anywhere, not being able to do anything, not being able to play with your kids, grandkids.
A comedian skit he talked about he's like, I hate how scientists are trying to make life longer, because they're only trying to add time onto the end. They're not extending the middle, the good years. It's extending the end. No one wants more end. No one wants more end. Make more middle. Make more middle, not more end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's funny. There's talks now that in our lifetime, they'll find a way to probably slow down, if not reverse or stop aging. So there are people alive today that will probably have the opportunity to live a lot longer. Now, there's a whole bunch of other shit that can go wrong in the world. Obviously, we're humans. We're idiots. We always try to kill each other, blow each other up. Yeah, there's a ton of other things that could go wrong. But I think that we're almost to the point where somebody alive today, and it could be even people my age or your age, that maybe, let's say I hit 65 20 years from now, they may be like, okay, here's your transfusion. Now we're going to reverse you back to 30. So, which would be great, because I don't really want to be older than that, but we'll see. But anyway, we can't, just because they might do that, just because that might happen, doesn't mean you can just like let yourself go and just be a piece of shit.
Absolutely. Have you ever seen that Netflix show? It was on like 5-6 years ago, Altered Carbon.
Oh, that's a great show. It's very, you can't miss a minute though. I love that show, but you have to pay attention to every fucking second because
Yeah,
it's so complicated.
great show. But the concept of really like your conscious and your memory and everything's on like a disc, and then you take the disc out and put it into another body. So like people can live forever because once their body ages, they just take the disc out, put it into another body. Then there's that one space where that really rich guy cloned himself, so we had clones. Like it
Yeah.
was a wild concept of a show,
Yeah.
but so good. And
It's a great show. Yeah.
the fucked up ones where you take like I remember the girl went to prison. She was like 15 or something like that. And then when she was released, they took her stack out and put it in like some like 6'5" obese man. And it was supposed to be like the parent's daughter, and it was this big burly man.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad. Yeah, I don't know who wrote that thing, but it is fucking crazy. That's a good show.
Great
That's
show.
actually worth rewatching. I think it's 2 or 3 seasons, so it's not super long.
Yeah.
If I remember right. But yeah, no, dude, I don't know. This 2025 is looking pretty good. I mean, again, until most of the world kind of hangs on to what happens around here with our elections. Now, the inauguration is not till the 21st or something of
2020, I think.
January. The business world's picking up a little bit. It's still been kind of slow for everybody. So if you're out there and your business, no matter what industry you're in, is kind of slow, join the club. Everything's just kind of like, oh, we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. Then aside from that, I feel like we've got a million things going on. We don't need to bore people to death with it today, but any major plans for the year, like anything like large other than what you've already been
Yeah.
working on?
Well, we're gonna as far as the agency goes, we're gonna be having a really big crypto coin project coming in. It's an ICO backed by businesses based out of Utah. I won't go into too much of the actual details because I don't want to give all the information out before we actually build it. But it's going to be geared towards the oil and gas industry, and then also utilizing the oil and gas industry for Bitcoin mining. So I'm not going to tell information on it, but it's going to be a very long, big project for us as an agency. They're going to need branding and marketing and the development of the coin and the smart contracts and the user interface and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a really big project we have coming in. I have a meeting scheduled the first week of January. So any day, I think it's next Monday is when the meeting is. And then a lot of just like continuous projects going on with a couple of the hotels I have down here and some restaurants. And it's, I'm projecting it's going to be a really big year for us. It's going to be a
Yeah, I
really
think so.
expensive year.
I think so. It certainly can't get any slower than the last 6 months of last year got.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about crypto is because we've been burned a bunch of times on helping some people, not all with that, because it wasn't really taken seriously for a long time. It was in the beginning, people made a lot of money, and then we had a few hiccups in between. And then of course there's always the crypto bro crowd that's always talking about it. We're like, just get out of here.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's making a bit of a comeback, not just because of Trump getting elected, because he's open to the ideas of it. But that doesn't really have that much long-term effect. But it is. I'll say that I feel like it's getting taken a little more seriously now than it was 5 or 6 months ago. Like it's kind of coming back around because it was just like a big meme for a long time. And that includes me. I make fun of it all the time. I don't have any cryptocurrency, nothing against it. I'm just not into it. But but it's funny that it's kind of coming back around and maybe could be a worthwhile industry to get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. I'll explain the details off camera because there's some things that I don't want other people to get the idea and the concept before we actually build it and trademark it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one of the things we have with the client is it's a lot of money they're going to be spending, a lot of money we're going to be making, and everything's paid up front. So there's no waiting for contracts or monthly. Everything's paid up front. So we're not worried about and like the thing is like with their concept, they already have one developed and is in use right now. So now it's going to be on
Okay,
top.
that's
Yeah.
good.
So they already have the wheels in motion and things are building and it's going to be minting the coin to facilitate the actual development of these things. So it's
Yeah.
going to be really
Well, that's
exciting.
good to have something that's up and running because, as we all know, and anybody listening or watching that's tried something for the first time, but until you prove the model and you're like, this actually works, you never really know. Even if you're copying somebody else's idea, because we've tried that before too. We've tried different types of sales funnels, and these are all good learning experiences. We're able to dial it in after that. But we've tried things that were proven that somebody else was able to do, and then we tried to do it, and for whatever reason, things fell apart along the way. So it's always good to have. Because when somebody comes to us and they're like, "Hey guys, this is going to be huge, and there's an opportunity to make a ton of money here," and like, "Well, have you done it before?" Like, "Well, no." I'm like, "Oh boy, that's a chance. That's a
Yeah.
big risk." So that's good to hear.
That was part of one of my intentions this year was to work less with startup companies.
Yeah.
My goal and intention is to take it. Like, I mean, I still will if everything is in alignment with me and there's no red flags and they have capital to spend. But I want to start working with more already existing businesses or people that have a business that want to start another business because they already have the
Hmm.
mindset, they already have the capital, they have the money, they have the understanding of how business works. They've done it for one industry, now they want to go into another one. But these, little mini startups, like I want to release a course, I've never done it before. It's like, yeah, I don't have the
Yeah.
capacity for it.
No, I mean somebody will. Don't worry. If you all have a course out there you want to promote
Mm,
and you don't have a lot of money to spend, go on Fiverr, Upwork. Don't call us, but go talk to somebody else. No, I'm kidding. I mean, we'll point you in the right direction, but
yeah.
we would prefer to take people from 50 to 100, not 0 to 50, unless it's something that's really really solid. Because and hey, look, we say this now, but 3 years ago when we were kind of starting off, we didn't have that luxury.
I took
So again,
everything.
if you're new to this whole thing, so yes, sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you have to take a job and you don't get paid for it at all, and it just ends up being something you can claim as a testimonial or like for your portfolio, but you actually
Exactly.
don't make any money off of it. So,
That's
so don't,
actually,
just because we're talking
yeah.
shit now doesn't mean that you guys don't have to do that. Yeah.
There's actually one. I have a meeting with a lady right now. I'm taking over her web design, and she is a spiritual healer for women. Not making a lot of money off it, and the only reason why I'm doing it is because I want to add it to my portfolio of building websites and doing stuff and designing things in the spiritual world because it's an area that I've become a lot more involved in, especially ever since I started dating my girlfriend. And it gives me an example and a portfolio piece for my portfolio to show that I've done it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I knew right away there's not gonna be a lot of money in it. I'm only doing it for the experience in that industry. So there is times we need to do it. Even at the level that we're at now, I still do it every. I'm doing it right now.
I can point to, without getting into specifics, because some of these are current people that we work with, but I can point to at least 3 or 4 solid times where we took on something for either little to no pay, but then that immediately led to something that paid because they're like, hey, do you guys do this? I'm like, well, we just did actually, even though at the time I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. But that it immediately translated over to something that paid. And the time wasn't very long in between. It actually worked out perfectly because it was like, oh yeah, last week we just did that shit. So don't be afraid to do that if you're comfortable doing it. But I know we're giving conflicting advice now, but that's the way the world works, man. People want quick answers. There's no quick answer here. Sometimes you got to eat shit and work for free. Sometimes you get hit big, and sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you don't. So that's the
Yeah,
way it
I mean,
goes. Unfortunately.
I think the moral of that is make sure you're being authentic. Like if you truly do not want to do it, don't take a job just for the money. Sometimes you have to just to survive and pay the bills. And I've done it before. If you get to a point where like we just talked about taking on a project that you're going to get paid less, but as long as there's an ulterior motive towards it, like
Hmm.
I am going to get paid less, but it's going to increase my portfolio. It's going to allow me into a new, different type of niche industry. It's going to provide me with experience working with these type of people. Focus on that. Don't focus on the money you're going to get paid for it. Focus on the experience that you're going to get, and that'll help change your mind. But I think we're getting close to 35 minutes already, so we are going to be lining up some more interviews as well for the new year. We have one gentleman already lined up. We got to schedule him in. We might be bringing Bridget Home back on as well. She was a fun little interview. I
Ham is
love
in mom. Ham is in
Mom is
mom.
mom. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
I look at some of the shorts we have, and like every single one, her face is like
That's
every
funny.
cover, every thumbnail's got a different facial expression. I'm like,
Yeah.
you talk to their face. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't. Well, I mean, I guess we probably could fix those, but those are the ones that Riverside shows. That's funny. That's
Yeah,
funny.
they're really good. So,
They're like
anyways,
a weird distorted.
I want to say thanks for everyone watching again. Obviously, if you're new to the show, like, subscribe, follow. We appreciate the support. And like always, if there's any topic you want us to talk about on the show, any subject, strategy, marketing, email, life advice, drinking, drugs, whatever it might be, just shoot us a
Yeah.
message, comment in the video, and we can talk about that. And if you're watching and you have your own podcast channel or your own business and you want to be a guest on our show, reach out to us as well. We can collaborate a time to have you in on one of our showings as well here.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Happy New Year, everybody, and to be continued.